Do I need to hit the gavel to get everybody's attention? We're going to start off by seeing if there's any public comment for a closed session. Seeing Mr. Woods not getting up, we'll make sure that there are no comments. And so therefore, we're going to go ahead and recess to closed session. We'll be back shortly. Okay, we'll go ahead and return to open session. Before we get a reportable action, I'll ask for the roll call.
From the city of Colton,
Isaac
Richard
Suchel.
De La Rosa.
What did you get?
Isaac Suchel.
from the city of Loma Linda.
Dusty Rigsby.
And Ovi Popescu.
Thank you. And from the city of San Bernardino.
Kerry Davis.
Fred Charette.
Jim Mulvihill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any reportable action from closed session?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. Now, moving on to regular scheduled items. Actually, before we do so, let's go ahead and do our Pledge of Allegiance. Can we all rise, please?
Under God,
Are there any items to be added or deleted?
No item, sir.
Thank you. If anyone has any conflict of interest, please let us know as we approach the items. And we'll move on to informational items. Mr. Burrows.
So I am actually going to, make you suffer through or indulge you through a PowerPoint review. Being that it is the end of our calendar year, we do try to take this time to kind of look back a little bit on what we've accomplished. So I'd like to kind of walk you through where we're at our mid-year point here. So as you recall, this year was another year of milestones. With our partnership with Hillwood, we have now exceeded 14.2 million square feet and more to come, which we'll share with you after the first of the year. And that generated a little over $1.6 billion in private investment and over 11,575, not 5, direct jobs. That equates to about $2.3 billion of economic output, and that's all thanks to your investments. Next slide, if you would. With our JPA these days, we've got a few buildings, few properties that we've been working to maximize tenancies, and obviously those opportunities are somewhat limited and constrained by the real estate that we have, but we've made some good strides here. Sharon Leone, our property manager, has done a great job this year as well, and Mr. Harris and his construction teams have helped support that effort. So next slide. So in our building here, this calendar year, we're happy to welcome Inland Action, who is a great friend of the base reuse efforts here at IVDA and the airport. Have only been working with us since 1962 before we were formed, and they have their meetings here, bringing a lot of regional speakers to this facility and help keep our airport on the map. The vacancy in this building now is at 0. But because we occupy it and obviously offer it for the community, this is still a cost center for IVDA because we are using this as an event facility. Incremental revenues do come in as people rent rooms and such. In the former Base Exchange, we added a nonprofit foundation this year, Daisy's Hope Foundation, and then we still have TET, our brewery, and then Inland Empire Film Services. That is a company that does permitting and support services for film production crews all throughout the Inland Empire region. And they're really interesting folks that do some good work. Also help bring some filming business back to our neck of the woods. Next slide. In our DFAS buildings, SBD Corporate Center, building number 1 is holding strong. Child Care Resources Center is still our main first floor tenant. County of San Bernardino is on the second floor, and then we have over in a portion of the first floor the Inland Juvenile Panel Attorneys. There is some square footage left on the second floor, and Sharon's in negotiations right now to fill up that space. So we hope to bring that back after first of the year. That would actually put us at 100% occupancy in this building. Next slide. So that's where you can see the space allocations in it, and that second floor square footage looks like it might be consumed in the expansion she's working on right now. Next slide. So building number 2, Mr. Harris has been hard at work getting our EDA grant closed out this year, and all of the exterior improvements, landscaping, parking lot upgrades, roof repairs, all of that is now done. We are in negotiations with a development partner and making good progress in that to bring a tenant and a comprehensive long-term lease back for your approval after the new year. Mr. Lewin is actively engaged, I would say.
Quick
Next slide.
question on
Yeah.
that. So if we're successful in finding a tenant, if I'm doing the math correctly, is that like an extra $1 million that we can generate?
It wouldn't be net, but what we're doing with this is more of a capital lease structure. So we would bring in a development partner to help build out the interior TIs, custom fit for a tenant, an end user, and then we would have a profit participation and ground lease revenue stream from that. Per your direction, we're not considering a direct sale at this point, and would like to retain that asset long term. So that is the path we're taking right now.
So as it relates to the first building where we're generating rent of about 100,000, that's not complete money that comes to us, then we have to then redistribute
So
some of that?
in the case of building 1, yeah, we do have a modified gross lease structure, so that is revenue, and then we have some operating expenses for utilities and janitorial and such. In this building, this is more of a net lease, which you're more familiar to seeing on the airport.
Okay.
And that would be net cash flow to the agency.
Okay. Thank you.
So you've heard a whole lot about this, and Jim's going to talk some more about it before we're done today. That is your new Gate 1 access road at Tippecanoe. So thank you again for your support of that. FedEx and UPS, thank you even more. That is one of the first trucks coming into the gate, and happy to say that despite even Mother Nature and a few surprises along the way, it is operational. It won't be complete till just about the end of this year because there's some signal and signage that has to go in. But thankfully, it came just at the right time. So Jim, again, thanks for keeping that thing moving, literally. That's your new FedEx hangar. Signage just went up a couple weeks ago. And fourth quarter, it is busy out there. Next slide. Our GA hangars, as you know, earlier in the year were wrapped up, and Sharon just surprised us. They are back to 100% rented. So that's a good thing. And as you recall, there's a reimbursement mechanism with Sabia to repay IVDA for its investment in the buildings themselves.
Where are we at with the possibility of building the third row?
So Mark and Jim have worked this past year on some initial design. And then obviously with our other capital projects, we're going to pick that back up after first of the year. So at least the initial design work is been roughed out. Getting into final design and what we're finally going to build, we will probably bring back before the end of the fiscal year. But we've not left it alone. So, next slide. Your specific plan. I keep talking about this. It is a fairly sizable effort. We continue to have good cooperation with our stakeholder partners, San Manuel, East Valley Water District, City of San Bernardino, City of Highland. We did have to do quite a bit of work to analyze the 5th Street alignment. As you recall, there was a concept to eliminate a portion of 5th Street, and the traffic analysis on that proved that it would be fairly problematic to mitigate. So that is back being rewritten right now, and we hope after first of the year we would have the draft plan concepts back in front of you with the zoning elements and some of the implementation methodologies. So the EIR itself is being drafted. We have a couple of infrastructure pieces that have to be wrapped up. So next slide. Mountain View is a daily effort right now. That phase 3 portion there of Mission Creek has been quite a bit of work. We've been hand in hand coordinating that with SBCTA and the Redlands Rail project, and a lot of utility crossings. So we are getting the temporary construction easements, right-of-way easements for the roadway improvements, and our project team is working on the new re-up of our Army Corps permits. That's going well. We do have some utilities that have to be relocated, and working with both the City of Redlands and San Bernardino to effectuate those processes. Mr. Harris and team have been working with the Mountain View Power Plant to the north in getting their final permits to get in and construct their frontage work. So Phase 4, to the folks in Loma Linda, know very, very well that we had good fortune to get some Caltrans money to do some initial widening of the interchange, and my friend Jarb is hard at work getting bids and getting that construction underway, which will happen very, very quickly. So that'll give us some more capacity there. And there you see, so $1 million grant from Caltrans. That is the design package there, and we are on track to see that go forward here just through the holidays and early next year. So it's moving quickly and should be all within the grant award amount. So next slide. So another milestone, you hit $6.9 billion in assessed valuation. So all that private investment and economic development goes someplace. Our bondholders are happy, happy, happy. Our bond underwriter is even happier because our bondholders aren't calling our bond underwriter because there's plenty of coverage out there. So the model's working in that regard.
It seems like since we're so close to 7, why don't we just call it 7?
Because that would be what my developer
At
friends would.
6.95, that's 7.
Yeah, 'cause I want to hit 7, darn it. We're close. So again, what does this mean for the overall project? You know, last year we were really, really excited to exceed 10,000 direct jobs. This year we're at over 11,000, and with the projects you've supported this year, we stand to best that handily by the next year's results. Next slide. So that's your progression from the prior years. Well, not too long ago, we were happy to have 4,000, and you know, it keeps climbing in the positive direction. Next slide. The airport this year hit number 3 on the top employers, and we're knocking on Stater Brothers' door. They certainly have been a mainstay of employment here, and we can't do it without them, but your airport's growing in a good way. Next slide. And that includes some folks like UPS and FedEx. They're right now at about 370 employees between the two of them, and holding very, very strong, which we were counting on. Next slide. So I think we were here for the banner program a few weeks back, and ran into our former board member and friend Ricky Van Johnson, and he said, "Hey, I asked you to talk about filming." I said, "Well, I always talk about filming." He said, "Well, no, you do a lot of filming out there. The public needs to know what you did." And 2 days, I'm not kidding, 2 days after that comment, Sam Mercadio sends me a text saying, "Hey, I saw this commercial, and it looked like our airport. Was it our airport?" And I used to know all those answers, but I had to check with Monette, and sure enough, it was. So that's kind of a hit list of what was filmed here in your backyard. You know, not a lot of feature films. You know, our last feature, I think, was American Sniper, but some cool commercials. The one Sam was calling about was Xarelto commercial. Xarelto, sorry. But we've had quite a few out there, and that's a nice supplement to the income. But again, the hotels here, the restaurants do benefit from that work, and it's nice to see your backyard on the silver or small screen, albeit. So that concludes our report, and again, thank you for your support. Your staff is reliant on it, but we do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to the consent items. Does anybody have any items they want to pull or have any further questions?
I'll move approval. Second.
Hearing a first and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 It's so ordered. Thank you. We'll go now to regular board action items. And the first one is a bittersweet item. It happens from time to time as board members come and go, and we want to recognize those who have been with us and have contributed heavily to our organization. So we're going to recognize Mayor Davis from City of San Bernardino, Mayor De La Rosa from City of Colton, San Bernardino County Third Supervisor, which will not be here, that's Mr. Ramos. So we have some plaques for them.
Yeah, to the chair, they would be right under your feet.
I see them, yeah. And yes, I have forgotten that Ms. Virginia Marquez also would be recognized this evening or this afternoon.
Wow.
So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and read the one for Mayor Davis, and it's going to apply to all three members, but I will recognize them as we go along. So the Inland Valley Development Agency resolution for R. Carey Davis. Whereas R. Carey Davis was first elected to serve as mayor of San Bernardino in February 2014, and Mr. Davis, during his tenure on the city council, has represented the city of San Bernardino as a member of the Inland Valley Development Agency board since 2014. And Mr. Davis has been actively involved in directing the issues of the military base reuse and revitalization activities impacting the former Norton Air Force Base in the region during his tenure on the Inland Valley Development Agency board. Mr. Davis has invested substantial time and effort to assist in the economic development achievements of the Inland Valley Development Agency for the benefit of the city of San Bernardino and the surrounding region, while ensuring the preservation of the rich heritage that is established, held, and advance the progress of Norton Air Force Base today and beyond. Mayor Davis has been instrumental in garnering and focusing economic, fiscal, business, and community input and interest throughout his service, while enhancing a public-private partnership with Hillwood, a parole company that has brought a multitude of Fortune 100 and 500 companies and other nationally recognized firms such as Kohl's, Mattel, Pep Boys, Medline Industries, Stater Brothers Markets, PepsiCo, Unical Aviation, Amazon, and most recently UPS and FedEx to the Norton Air Force Base. Mayor Davis consistently strives to increase employment opportunities in the region as he exercises practice, devotion, and leadership in all matters. These efforts have brought substantial investment in buildings improvements to the former military base. Mayor Davis was instrumental in developing the policies leading to an excess of $1.6 billion of private investment to the area and the issuance of 240 million IVDA tax allocation refunding bonds. He has tirelessly represented the interests of the citizens, taxpayers, companies, and agencies in the region, and has had the vision to foresee the development and the economic potential of the airport through the strong support of capital improvements, including the completion of the $270 million in public infrastructure and roadway upgrades, establishing opportunities to expand aviation and foreign trade facilities at San Bernardino International Airport. Through his thoughtful and collaborative leadership, Mr. Davis has helped the Joint Powers Authority to achieve fiscal and operational success, attracting and retaining over 11,575 jobs and supporting over 14.2 million square feet of new development at the former Norton Air Force Base, now generating over $2.3 billion in economic output to the community. Now therefore be it resolved on this 12th day of December 2018 that the Inland Valley Development Agency hereby join with friends and family and colleagues in commending Mayor Davis for his tireless efforts and dedication to this region and the goals of the board, and in bringing into reality the successful conversion of the former Norton Air Force Base to civilian reuse. Be it further resolved that this resolution be noted in the official minutes of the Inland Valley Development Agency and presented to Mayor Carey Davis in appreciation of his exemplary public service. So we thereby give this one of many latitudes, and we do have a few more here, and we won't go through the details, but it's very much worded the same way for Mayor Richard De La Rosa, and we'll go ahead and hand this to you, and then all of us will make a few statements. Thank you. And then the other two I do have are not here, but there's one for Supervisor James Ramos and one for Virginia Marquez from the city of San Bernardino. With that, does anyone want to say a few words? Go ahead, Mr. Charette.
Well, I'll just congratulate both of you and thank you for your leadership and your service to this board and to this community. Mayor, thank you for serving as our mayor for the last going on 5 years, I guess, and your leadership here. Mayor De La Rosa, you keep telling me that you're going to take a little hiatus and then be back, so we'll look forward to seeing you back. But good luck to you in your future endeavors and whatever, and thank you again. It's been a pleasure. I said it the last time, the best part of my job in public office has been meeting people like yourself and developing some pretty long-term and I think really positive relationships. So I appreciate your friendship and your leadership as I do with you as well, Mayor. So thank you very much.
Well, I've known you guys more than the short time I've been on this board. But Richard, it's really been great getting to know you, and you put a lot into Colton. Colton is a much better place for your having been there, and so is the IVDA. And I really appreciate your friendship, and our two cities get along great because of your leadership. And we've got a fire department that we share responsibility, and we've got borders that we share, and a lot of love for one another. And Mayor Davis, you are without a doubt the most charismatic mayor in the history of Loma Linda. Oh, no. San Bernardino. I'm stuck. I keep mentioning my hometown when I think of Loma Linda. So yeah, you're a great guy. You brought them back up from the ashes. You're the phoenix of Loma Linda. San Bernardino. I just can't say enough about your leadership. That was you performed a miracle with the help of a great council, and the IVDA really appreciates your leadership as well, and I do, and I appreciate your friendship. And you know, if you want to just put it in political terms, you know, he gave a speech that caused me to take out a check and write a check to him. I mean, that doesn't happen. So, you know, he's got talent, so thanks.
I guess both of you can say something about each other.
No, it was a pleasure and very good experience to be up here with all of you and the staff at IVDA and Sabia. I take a little bit from each one of you and your knowledge and the way you carry yourselves and the way you guys do things and say things in closed session and out of closed session. So it has been a very, very rewarding experience working on this agency. And I know that this team that's assembled here from the agencies is the team that's going to take this agencies and this community and this Inland Empire and this region to another level. I can see that. I brag about it all the time to people that are coming in from other towns and other agencies. I brag about this agency all the time, where it used to be and where it is now. And so I'm homegrown here in the Empire, and I can't wait for the future of this agency. And Mayor Davis, you know, I watched you since I got on here, and you did, as Dusty was saying, San Bernardino community is a better place with you there, and I mean that. Born and raised in San Bernardino too, so I know what they're capable of. But I also know the leaders of the past that have really put it in their hearts and in their minds to do the right thing for San Bernardino and make it a proud place to grow up. So thank you very much, Mayor.
Well, thank you, and I do want to echo Mayor De La Rosa's sentiments about the staff here at IVDA and Sabia. You've done an incredible job. I see what you've accomplished with the resources that you have, and I think that you've done an excellent job of stretching all of those dollars to get the most out of it. This organization, under the leadership of Mike Burrows, I believe has been very well served. As I've had an opportunity to watch some of the magnificent growth that's taken place here in this at this airport and in the region, especially with some of the building that's taken place. we are very fortunate to have had the leadership that's currently in place, who went through some very difficult times and some transition, and I think was very instrumental in helping this organization to achieve what it has achieved. And with that, also this board and those who have served on this board that have given you the latitude to be able to exercise the skills and the talents that you have. This organization, with this board, together with your leadership and the staff that you've put together, the trust that they have in you is really very, very evident in the progress that has been made. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve on this board. It has been one of, I think, one of the more fun commissions to serve on because we've seen the progress that's been made over the last several years. The Airfest that has grown year after year, watching the building take place. One of the things that I had talked to Mike about was during the Airfest to be able to be hoisted down out of one of those helicopters. And we tried to do that, but insurance blocked our efforts. And so.
Anybody out, Mike?
But it truly has been a pleasure and an honor to serve on this board and to really see a lot of the growth that has taken place. So thank you very much. Thank you, Richard, and thank you to each one of the board members.
Go ahead.
Well, I wish I would have brought the speech I gave yesterday morning. I could go on for 3+ minutes with some very long list of achievements, but let me just briefly say, I think the achievements that you've made have set a standard that future mayors of San Bernardino are going to be measured by. And so thank you so very much for the time and efforts that you put into the city. Thank you.
All I can say is after all the accolades have already been dispensed, I can only say that being the short time on this commission, this board, I've learned a lot from every board member, specifically from Mayor De La Rosa, Mayor Davis, and Marquez, and James Ramos. So I can only gather and learn more while I'm here, and it's really an honor to be on this board. So, and have fun and relax and come back in 4 years, Mayor, or whatever your plan is, Mayor De La Rosa.
Well, I would just add to the fact that I think you're going to be, both of you, greatly missed. Beginning of this year, we didn't think that you would be retiring so soon, and so now we have to readjust with new members, and that in itself is sometimes stressful for the rest of us that's left behind. So time will tell how that turns out, but having been here for 10 years and counting, I've been through 4 mayors in Colton, and I got to tell you that every one of them have been easy to work with. So Colton definitely produces good people, and I still remember to this day, Richard, when I saw you walking down the aisle, when you came in and talking to you and explaining to you a little bit about the IVDA and how excited you were to come on board, and it just seems like it was yesterday. Time has flown, and I'd really appreciate your support, and just you've been active and you've been a great participant, and we're going to miss that. Mayor Davis, I can't say enough good things about you. You've been very proactive in assisting not only myself, but the rest of the board members. You've been very supportive of everything that we've done here. It's nice to have support from everybody, but especially someone like yourself as vice president and the mayor of the most important city in our region. Obviously, the airport is in your city, so we want to make sure that this is an institution that's going to not only grow for the benefit for all of us, but specifically for your city of San Bernardino. And I think you recognize that early on. I still remember when you came on board and you asked a lot of questions about the finances, especially the JPA and the various revenues. And I think because of your inquiries, it forced all of us to basically educate ourselves as to the importance of the financial structure, which can be kind of complex at times, and someone with your background in accounting helped all of us actually understand the finances better, and I really am thankful for that. And especially you and I have sat on many subcommittees, the TAC committee, which is, I know it's on the airport side, but the finance committee, and we've sat in and we've interviewed various audit firms, and it's been just a great learning experience, and I really enjoyed every minute of it. So you will be greatly missed, and hope you don't go far and we get to see you at the next air show, if not some other capacity in the future. So thank you.
And then on behalf of the staff, I do just want to, thank you, for your leadership. And I mean that. It's true leadership. The title of mayor, I know, Dusty, you know how that feels. But there's a lot that comes with that. And, on an appointed board, it's pretty rare to have folks, not only with your, talents and aptitudes, but your crazy calendars and all the places you got to be and how accessible you have been, not just to me, but to the entire staff. To have folks of your caliber and cadre of leadership donate as much time as you have to our cause. Now, granted, we needed it, so thank you for that. But, there's a long hours there, and you didn't hesitate. You went above and beyond, and we just cannot thank you enough. And I can't thank you enough, because it's not an easy job, but it was made a lot easier by how you handle yourselves and how you support this region in this effort. And I'm going to miss the hell out of you. But I'm happy that we made some accomplishments. We've got a lot more to do. And as Mayor De La Rosa reminded me, because you are founding members of SBD Fest, we are required to give you airshow tickets as emeritus members from here on in. So don't go anywhere, please. And again, thank you so much for all you've done.
Yeah, that's really the only reason I got on the board was to get those tickets, Kat.
If I'd known that, I'd retire.
So, Ms. Pritchard, please don't forget us.
Don't go anywhere.
Now, we would have to impress upon you, because we'd be all night if we said all the great things about these guys, but I really, for our selfish purposes, I'd like you to come down and get us a photo here with you, and with all of the staff, please. It's the last meeting of the year, guys. You can get up too.
All of us or just them? Oops, wrong one.
Take my chair.
I was getting in your chair.
All righty, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 9, which is the consider and adopt the proposed budget adjustment for fiscal year 2018-19. Mr. Garay.
Thank you. On page 65, we have staff report that proposes a budget adjustment to reflect improvements to the estimates and changes in conditions of certain accounts. Staff recommends that the budget adjustment be considered and adopted in the budget as indicated on the proposed budget adjustments table. The fiscal impact is cost neutral. In other words, There is no additional cost, positive or negative in this case. Going to page 66 for the detail. We can go to the proposed budget adjustments table reflected in the middle of the page. We'll see two accounts that are affected. Line A, the Capital Projects Fund, Mountain View Interchange Design, the original budget was $300,000. Staff proposes a reduction of that budget amount by $100,000 to an adjusted budget of $200,000. This is a result of decrease in expenditures due to availability of grant funding from Loma Linda. The second line, line B, is the other account that's affected. This is the Capital Projects Fund, Tippecanoe Avenue. Original budget was $1.7 million. Staff proposes to increase that budget by $100,000 to an adjusted budget of $1.8 million. This is to fund an increase in expenditures on the Tippecanoe Avenue project. That concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much. It's always good to see money being used to improve our roads, and this is part of the reason the IVD is really in existence, to help infrastructure around the airport. If there are any questions?
Move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, and actually to speed this up, seeing no opposition, it's so ordered. I don't know if that's enough to meet all the state standards of voting on items, so eventually we'll probably come up with a better system, but in the meantime, we'll just adapt. Alrighty, so that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 10. This is the approval of a contract amendment, number 1, to the Jerkinson Construction contract for the Gate 1 Access Road project in the amount of $36,046 for a total amount not to exceed $1.799 million. Mr. Harris.
Thank you. Brief overview of this project. The purpose of this construction was to remove the trucks going to FedEx and UPS from going to the interior of the airport on Harry Shepherd and Leland Norton. So what we have done is we are providing this truck access off of Tippecanoe onto airport property, go through security gates to get onto the AOA, and upgrade the road on the interior of the airport to handle the 2 lanes of traffic. The requested change order is primarily for additional electrical expenses. During this design, which was an extremely short period, we had difficulty finding a source for power for the security system and the security booths. We found that. This change order primarily gets power from the DFAS buildings across the street. We bored under Tippecanoe. So now we have a dedicated source of power for this part of the airport, and we also ran new fiber to go across the street to serve both DFAS 1 and 2, which was a future plan anyway, so we piggybacked on it and saved a few dollars there. So this, that is the outlook of the project, and we request that you approve this change.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned the toll booth. So is that an option that you're thinking about?
You've been talking to
Turn
Bill,
those
Mayor.
into some revenue generating?
If
You
we
know,
could
charge
only-
the trucks every time they go through, or?
If we could only do it like the 91 freeway, we would be great, well off.
Thank you. I'll move the item.
Thank you.
You can ultimately charge for the fiber later, though, so you get that one.
I'll second.
I hear a first and a second. Hearing no opposition and no further comments, it's so ordered. Thank you very much. Moving on to our last item of the evening, which is number 11, it's just to consider and discuss an updated action plan for the Inland Valley Development Agency through December 2018. Mr. Burrows.
Okay, so obviously it says complete annual audit, and Bill wanted to get on to holiday shopping, so that's why you had your audit last meeting, so it was early. And then, obviously, with our recap there with the strategic plan initiatives, we are going to do another reset on your action plan. You'll see that back next meeting in January. And we are going to be starting our economic impact report analysis now as we round out the calendar year. So that'll be presented in June along with the fiscal reports. And so far, so good. Things are on the up and up. And with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. And with that, I think we're going to adjourn our last IVDA meeting for the year. We want to wish all of you a happy new year. Most of you will see again next week for our airport meeting on the 18th. But in the meantime, thank you all and good night. Thank you.